So let's start the today's session, guys. Okay, the topics that we are going to cover in today's topic, right? In today's session, there we have categorized, we have divided into two parts. The first is this cloud compute services. Okay, particularly I will be much more focusing upon the EC2 part. Okay, this one EC2, and the storage part is the S3. Okay, these two things I will be discussing, right? Yeah. So let's start with compute services, right? Okay, so there are many compute services, right, guys? Yesterday I shown you that many multiple compute services. Let me open my AWS account. Give me a minute. See here, these are the compute services. The moment I click on right, the moment I click on it, and you can see here compute, right? In this part, you can see this is where the AWS, not this one I'm talking about, this one, right? Left hand side, this one. All of the things you can see that AWS have done is that they have categorized the service because more than 300 services are present there. So what they have done is that they have categorized the services, right, and presented it in an organized manner. So if you want to find it out, there is something which is called the compute services. Okay, if you want to do that, if you want to work about any compute services, click on this catalog and see. Now in the compute part, you have app runner, batch, and just a short summary about that particular application resource it is written there. So we will be talking about this EC2 virtual service in the cloud, right? It kind of helps us in deploying the virtual servers. Okay, yes, that's it. Okay, and there's a light snail. Okay, it's a much more easy thing. Lambda is also there. Lambda, today I will be explaining this Lambda also, right? And there is an outpost. Okay, very interesting one, right? So all these things are in the compute part, right? It means that these all the services has the property. One thing is common in all of the services, that they can do the processing, right? If you provide them some kind of an information, they have that capacity to process. Okay, they can analyze the data and all those kind of things they can do, right? That's it. Okay, so the first service that we are going to today talk about, which is called the AWS Container Service, right? Okay, so AWS Container Service. So a container service, right, is a type of a kind of, as I told you, that's a compute service that allows the user to deploy, right? That it helps you to deploy. Okay, it helps you to manage and manage the container applications, right? In the first day I told you about the container part. They are like the big brother of the virtualization. Okay, the hypervisor and hypervisor first and hypervisor second, I think that you were remembering what they were. Okay, so when I explained you the hypervisor first and hypervisor second, I explained you about the containers part, right? So that thing, if you want to play with that, so if you have Dockers, Kubernetes, and all those kind of thing applications for deploying the containers, right? They are lightweight. Okay. The only difference between the VMware is that VMware and the container is that their VM containers are lightweight. They can be easily deployed. They does not completely depend upon the operating system of the host machine and all those kind of thing. You can do plenty of things with them. Fine. Okay. So AWS has its own type of container service, right? Which is called the AWS Container Service. Okay, let me show you just a glimpse of it. You can use this particular service, AWS Container Service, for deploying, just give me a minute, for deploying the, or playing with the containers, right? Let me show you how it looks like. Okay, just give me a minute and let me switch back to my AWS account. And here I am. All you need to do is that in the search bar, type AWS Container Service. Yeah, or you can just write Container Service. See, Elastic Container Man. Okay, so you can start it, and you can, if you go inside it, right, not just going to create anything here, just for the understanding, just for a very short summary I'm telling, right? So what it does, that you can just click on this particular video and you will be able to understand what it is, how it works, little bit overview they will be providing you, and there's a benefit and the use cases. And if you want to play with it, just click on get started, and that's it, right? So it really helps you in managing the containers, deploying the containers, and all those kind of thing, right? Yep. Okay, this is about the Elastic Container Service. Okay, so now we are going to talk about a very new concept which is called the serverless. So in the serverless computing, right, what really happens is that, in this serverless computing method, it's kind of provide the service. So for example, it means that the server, okay, you will not be able to interact with the server directly. The server would be present there for sure. As the name is saying that it is serverless, but that's not actually the truth. The server is present there, but at the back end you will not be interacting as a user or as a developer. You will not be interacting much with this particular serverless computers. Okay, so see, serverless allows user to write and deploy code without the hassle of worrying about the underlying infrastructure. Yes, you can also say that it's a PaaS. Okay, right? Whether you are only focusing about your code and your application, right? You're not worrying about the underlying infrastructure. Okay, that's it, as I told you. Okay, so you're only focused about this particular, the code and your particular and deployment of that particular code, in which platform it is, whether it's in Python, PHP, JavaScript, or whatever type of platform it is, right? And the version of the platform, only that much, the code and the platform, you need to worry about it. Other than that, it's not your headache. Okay, whether it's kind of thing, it's you know uh, you does not need to worry about it. Like for example, you does not need to worry about the load balancer, you does not need to worry about anything else. Okay, that's it. One word to serverless example, the AWS Lambda. If you want one word, there is a thing which is called AWS Lambda. Okay, this is service, right? And I will be telling you. So see, in the serverless, if you want to understand in a very layman language, you does not interact with the service. Your only task is to deploy your piece of a code, right? You want to run a website, it is not your headache to where the particular data will be stored, who will be, how what kind of encryption would be used, how the network would be built up. It's not your headache. Your only headache is two things: about the code, in which, like for example, JavaScript is mostly used in typing or creating the website. Okay, that is the thing. And the particular platform, the Python, Ruby, Java, JavaScript, anything. Only two things you need to worry about. Rest is not your issue. How the server is working, what is the configuration of the server, operating system, it is not your headache. Okay, it's the headache of the cloud service provider. I will be showing the serverless. Okay, serverless means you are not interacting with the server. It's a headache of the cloud service provider. Okay, so there is a very famous service, guys, with the name of AWS Lambda. So there's a thing which is called AWS Lambda, right? Okay, so I will be showing you this particular thing, and we will be doing some kind of a work in this AWS Lambda as well. And this is a serverless service. Okay, so here again, you will be just deploying your code, right? And you will be, you know, getting the result. That's it. Okay, not much of a thing is there in the serverless computing. Fine. Okay, so now what really happens, why we need this AWS Lambda, what's the benefit this AWS Lambda does is that. So guys, let's think about a situation. A situation is that I am working in an e-commerce website. AWS Lambda, yeah. Okay, so there's a condition, right? Before jumping to the AWS Lambda, let me tell you about a condition. So I have this e-commerce website, right? Let's say for Amazon.com, okay, and it's running over a cloud platform. So definitely, for sure, whether it's 2 a.m., right, whether it's 5 p.m., whichever time it is, definitely whenever you will be typing into your Google or Mozilla Firefox, Amazon.com, or India, we have something which is called Flipkart.com, right? You will be typing it, whether it's midnight or whether it's noon or the evening or the morning, you will be getting that AWS, right? Or you will be getting that Amazon.com there, right? And Flipkart as well. Okay, 24/7 they are running. So it means there is a server in the Amazon or in the Flipkart which is running 24/7. Okay, to provide the customers, right? so that you can buy something, you can interact with that particular service. So it's running 24/7, right? Okay. So guys, so the thing here is this, that you does not want that. Okay, you are a very small organization and you definitely have an idea that if I deploy a server and that server is running 24/7, day and night that server is running, guys, right? It would be an utter chaos for me, right? Think from a perspective of a business owner. If you are, just started a company, right, and your requirement is that you need to repeat Lambda. I'm going to repeat the Lambda part, but before jumping into the Lambda part, Hitesh, I'm just telling you about a scenario why we need the Lambda. Okay, that's it. So really what happens is that this particular thing, I am very, I'm just going to start an organization, right? And a very small organization with hardly 5 to 10 peoples. And the requirement for my organization is that I need a server, okay? And that server should be running 24/7, right? 24/7 it should be running, right? So definitely, if you deploy a server over any cloud platform, whether it's AWS, GCP, okay, or Azure, it will be costing you a lot, definitely for sure, because every time, whether it's day, night, okay, midnight, it's running, right? So that, customer can visit, right? So it's running 24/7, and you does not want to, be make a situation when a customer really want to buy something from your particular platform and it's not accessible, right? So that's not the case. So it's running 24/7. This could be a thing which could be afforded because it would be definitely, huge cost would be there, right? So this kind of thing would not be handled by a small organization, because a lot of, if the small organization has a budget of, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, trust me, a lot of the portion will just go only, into paying the charges for this particular 24/7 running server. Okay, what you need to do is that you need a server, definitely for sure, in an order to, just give me a minute. Yeah. So in an order to interact with your customers, you need a server for sure, right? But you want that I, you know, that only whenever some kind of visitor, or you can say some employee or some customer goes to this particular website and buy something, right? Okay. Again, the condition is when you buy something, when anyone buys something, the thing is that then only you will be, charged. Okay, remember, again, I'm telling what I'm telling. Previously what was happening was that the server was running 24/7. Okay, it was running 24/7, and you will be charging the AWS or the cloud platform a very big amount because it's running 24/7. But now what you need is that, you are thinking that 24/7 is running, is costing us a lot. You come across service which is called the AWS Lambda. What happening in the AWS Lambda is that it kinds of provide you a better feature, which is that when you have enabled AWS Lambda, is that when this particular customer, the C is the customer, and this customer comes to this e-commerce website, right? And when he has kind of, there is a basket in the AWS, or sorry, in the Amazon and the Flipkart, there's a basket where people keep on adding their, the thing they need to buy out. And when they click on the purchase, and when the purchase has been successful, then only this particular server would be, running. Okay, or whenever, okay, so whenever this particular customer would be coming to the AWS or the Amazon, the moment he will be entering the Amazon, this server would be start running. Okay, not before that, it will be just lying there hibernating. Okay, got that? The moment you will be entering and going to the Amazon, then only the server would be running. Before that, it will just be hibernating there. Okay, got it? Yep. So when you will be entering inside it, doing something, searching for it, making a payment and all this kind of thing, when you have done your transaction and you have logged it out of your Amazon account, now there is no customer inside this particular server, and now it will be again going back to the hibernation. It means that when there is certain conditions, right? Again, when there is something said, certain conditions you have put, when these conditions are met, then only your server is running. Okay, and when your server is running, then you are paying for it. Okay, so that means that your server is not running 24/7. It is only running when there is a customer present in the AWS. or sorry, in the Amazon. So when there is a customer in your Amazon or in your e-commerce website, that time your server is running. So the customer was there for 10 minutes. So the server was running for 10 minutes. You paid for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, the customer gone, pay as you use model it is, right? Definitely, but much more advanced thing is that, right? There is thing which is we are setting is the condition, because this is completely autonomous. Remember this thing, this is not manually you will be doing. Okay, yeah, this is completely automatic, right? So for example, if I'm the owner of a e-commerce, how does it come up with it? So right, I am the owner of a e-commerce website. Okay, so now what is happening is here is that I'm just in my house, right? And it's been 11 o'clock. Okay. And the office is shut. Only 2-3 people are there in the office. In case there is some kind of an emergency, the servers failed, there's a fire due to that thing. The rest of the staff, at least 95% of the staff is at home. Okay. So the server is running, right? And what happens? Okay, the server is there. It's in hibernating state. Okay. It is neither hibernation state means it has not stopped or neither it start or neither it's running. It is in the middle. Okay, it's just hibernating there, and you will not be charged for that, or very minimum charges. Again, it depends from platform to platform. So it's just lying there. Okay, and the moment it detects that somebody is accessing somebody has entered into the server and accessing resources inside the server, what is in the looking for the air conditioner, looking for the some kind of groceries and all this kind of thing. Okay, some kind of books. So when he sends that, the server starts to run. The server starts to run for 10 minutes, right? And after 10 minutes, the customers goes and the server, there is nobody inside the server, and the servers, kind of again go back to the sleep mode or the hibernating mode. Okay, it's same like your particular PC. In how many of you have used the sleep mode in your particular laptop or your PC? Definitely sure what happens in that particular hibernating state, or you can sleep mode in your particular PC. What really happens is that if you does not touch your particular PC, it goes into sleep mode. But the moment you click on it, it goes to sleep mode, right? And the moment you click on some kind of a button, it's again come back. The best thing about it, this PC is not continuously running. The processing power is at least 95% reduced, right? So battery is saved and all those kind of thing, but it's not shut down. There's a difference between shutdown and a sleep mode. You just click a button, within a few seconds it's just running. Okay, it will be just waking up, right? That's the sleep mode. The same happens in the AWS Lambda. Okay, what AWS Lambda, the feature is provided is that it kind of your server goes into the sleep mode. Your server is already in the sleep mode, right? It's not continuously 24/7 running, it is in the sleep mode. When there is certain conditions you will be meeting, that when a condition is that, for example, two things would be here. Okay, so how would you find out that when to wake up the server? So server, you have two conditions for the server. Okay, let me write it down. There are two conditions for the server. First is the sleep mode, right? And the second is the running. Okay, it is run. Okay, and there is a sleep, right? So sleep mode is when there is nobody, right? There is nobody, right? And when there is somebody, right? When the somebody is present inside the server, it start running. Okay, so how would the server verify that? The server, because at the end of the day, server is a machine. So server finds out when to sleep and when to run. There's a thing which is called the trigger, right? And the conditions are there, and there is a trigger. So when this particular conditions are met, you have set the conditions that when somebody is coming inside that particular web server, that condition is met, then this particular piece of code would be running. Okay, so there is a situation and there is a piece of a code. Got it? That piece of a code is called the trigger. Okay, the trigger is executed and when the condition is met. Okay, so in the AWS Lambda, in a very short term, if I tell you in a brief, it is two things are there. There's a thing which is called condition and a trigger. Okay, so when there is a condition, right, you have set a condition that when somebody enters my house, there should be an alarm, right? That's a condition. When you have set meta condition that when there is a smoke in my house, or there is a it has some kind of conditions are there in your smoke detector, that when the sensor pickups the smoke or the CO2, right, the rise in the CO2 of the air, when that particular condition is met, something triggers. What triggers? An alarm trigger. Okay, an alarm is trigger. Got that? So if you have a smoke detectors in your house, how many of you have a smoke detector in your house or your office? Okay, so definitely that doesn't mean that, you know, that particular smoke detector or the fire detector, what they do is that they definitely make a huge noise, right, in an order to alert you, right? So it doesn't mean that continuously 24/7 they are making the thing, right? So what we have done is that we have set a condition. Okay, when this particular condition, when this particular sensor picks the carbon monoxide or pick up the fire or the rise in the temperature, then execute and start beeping. Okay, then start making the loud noise. Okay, the same thing we were doing the AWS. I does not want the server to run 24/7 because it's costing me a lot. So what I want is that I want the server only run when some certain conditions are met. Okay, when certain conditions are met, then only the server would be running. When that conditions are fulfilled, the server would, you know, not running. It will again go back to the sleep mode. Fine. This is what happens in the AWS Lambda. Okay, just let me show you the particular AWS Lambda. Just a glimpse I will be telling, because it's again, it's a very huge topic. So let me just show you how it looks like. Okay, so once you will be familiar with it. Okay, Lambda. This is the Lambda to be coming up. You click on the Lambda. Okay, and you can see these are the functions that I've created. Functions means conditions, right? Function means the conditions. Okay, so let's create a function. Okay, let's write the name or something like that. 1 2 3. Okay, let's create a function and it will take a minute. So for example, as I told you that the server would be running for 10 minutes, then you will be charged only for 10 minutes, right? As compared previously you were charged 24/7. That, okay, so see. Okay. See guys, so this is the function, right? And this is the trigger. Okay, guys. Yeah. So previously, I have said that trigger is executed and function is not. It is quite vice versa. I really get confused in that. Okay, so really what happens in that, in the function, when you create something, you write your piece of code, right? The function is where you write your piece of a code. Okay, so you scroll down, you have created right now, I have in front of your eyes created this function with the name my function 1 2 3. You scroll down and you can see this is the piece of a code. This is just a demonstration purpose for, right? You can, for to be good at AWS Lambda, right, you have to be good at the programming, whether it's a JSON, Python, or anything. This is just a piece of a code which is present there, right? You can write it. Okay, so this is your particular function which will be executed, right? Okay, and that particular thing, okay, so you can test it, you can write it down some code here also, and you can click on test, so it would be running here, right? And then AWS will be evaluating it and telling you that there is some kind of an error, some kind of a problem in your this particular thing. Okay, this is it. So this is your function which will be running. So click on it, info, and you will be getting information, right? The function tells you about the code, right? This particular code would be executed, right? Whatever this particular code or condition would be there, it will be executed. And there is something which is called the trigger. Okay, this is the trigger, right? So this is a trigger, means this trigger is the condition. Okay, previously I was saying that function is the condition. No, sorry for that. The condition is this: when there is some kind of trigger is there, okay, when there is some kind of fire or there is some kind of a thief in your house or something bad happens, when there is a trigger, right, this condition is there, then this particular piece of a code, this function is the code, runs. Okay, so when there is some kind of trigger, then particular piece of a code runs. Remember? Okay, this is it. So this particular piece of a code will not run 24/7. It will only run when you will, this particular condition is met. So you go to the trigger part, you now setting up the trigger for that particular account. You click on it and there is Alexa. You can set it with the Alexa, you can set it with the IoT devices, without cloud logs, right? With S3 is also there. So what, see in the S3, what you can do, if any one of you, I provide the access of my S3, or you can say it's kind of a Google Drive, right? So I provide the access of my S3 to any one of you, right? So I will not be charged 24/7 because the S3 is just lying there. Okay. So the moment you will be, any of you would be inserting some kind of photos into my particular system, right? Then only I will be getting an alert when this particular condition would be met, fulfilling. Then only that particular piece of code would be executing, and I will be getting an alert, right? Same thing. So for many of you, I know it would be quite confusing, right? If they're not familiar with this thing, this, if you're very new to the Lambda part, but in a very brief, if you want to understand it, there are two things in the Lambda. If you want to really, just summarize it, there are two things. There is something which is called the function, okay, and there is a trigger, right? Function means a piece of a code, okay, and trigger means condition. Trigger means condition. So when this condition is fulfilled, then this piece of a code runs. Okay, remember this thing, right? Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how, just an overview about the AWS Lambda. The material I told you, it's free of cost. You just don't need to go anywhere. Just go to your particular Google Gmail, or Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, and just type there your particular respective command, and you're good to go. Move to the next topic, which is the choose the right compute service. So as I told you, there are multiple compute services, right? One compute service is EC2, okay, with which we will be playing definitely for sure, which is going to be interesting for you guys, right? And I want you guys, to uh, make your AWS account. That would be the first step towards starting your journey in the cloud part, right? That's it. Okay. So how do you choose the right compute services? Because there are multiple compute services. So how do you choose that? First thing, right? So this depends upon multiple factors, right? Let's go one by one. Okay. Workload. Okay. So see, the workload you have determines the compute service that is being suited for your need. This Lambda is also a compute service, right? Because it can think. All compute services means that particular thing system can execute. It has CPU capacity, right? It can process information. That what the compute means. So if you give a piece of an information to that particular machine, it can process it, right? It can do some kind of algorithms and logic building up, right? And it can then kind of respond you back as well, right? So based upon your requirements, so you have multiple, you have Lambda, you have Light Snail. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. Let me go to the AWS account. Okay, yeah, okay, yes, okay. So this is my particular system. Okay, this is my AWS account, and there's a very interesting which is called the Light Snail. Just a very small, I'm showing you, right? Light Snail. You just click on it, and I want you guys to play with it. Okay, it's very, very simple. Everything is there. Okay, it's very simple for newcomers, but we have not, included in the this masterclass. Okay, because trust me, within 5 minutes you will be able to understand what it is. Okay, but this particular thing is not used in organization, so that's the reason we have not included this particular thing in the masterclass, right? So even if you master this Light Snail, trust me, not much of work is there in the organization. For your own thing, for your own understanding of basic of database networking, about the containers, you can have it, but not from perspective of the organization, or uh, in the context of the organization, it will have no use. So just 2-3 buttons. See, lot of colors, a lot of cartoons, animations is there, right? So you can just click on the instance. Instance means server, right? See, very colorful appearance it has, right? So I want you guys to, I'm just encouraging you to go after this, right, a session, and create your own AWS account, and here you will be just clicking on it, right? And you are good to go, right? It's very, very easy. Just read it out what it is written here, and you will be able to use it. Fine. And within 2-3 or within a week, I would say, you will be just master into it, right? And you can say this particular AWS, Light Snail is the, the small brother of EC2. So if you have understand this EC2, right, you will easily master this light snail. So these are both the same. Light snail and EC2 are, at least you would say, you know, 60% similar. Okay, because EC2 is much more advanced, so definitely that's a difference where there is 40% of difference is there. Rest, this light snail is quite easy to understand. Okay, yeah. So this is why when I will be explaining you EC2, okay, I will be kind of, you will be able to correlate with the light snail when you will be doing by yourself. It's very easy. You does not need any kind of guidance. You just understand the EC2 and start using light snail. You will be easily able to understand what it is. Okay, that's it. So that's the reason we have choose EC2. With the EC2, with just having an understanding about the EC2 service, this one, you will be, not just having an understanding about this service, but about this as well. Okay, this is it. Yeah. So when we come to the cloud, the C compute part, we have multiple. We have Lightsnail, we have Outpost, Lambda. Okay, these are all compute one. It means when you give some kind of an information to that, they process it and in returns give you some kind of an information. Okay, like for example, like your Alexa or your Google Assistants or Cortana or the Siri, you say something to them, they process it and it gives you something back, right? That comes with computational power. Okay, they can compute it, right? They can analyze it, do the processing part, and then give you some kind of a result. Okay, yeah. So right, so how to choose the computer? So first is the workload. So depending upon your workload, you choose the service. Okay, you have like Lambda, EC2, right? ECS, multiple are there. You can choose based upon your requirement. Okay, this is it. That's the first thing you choose, right? Right. And the second is your compute requirement. There are some services, like for example, if I compare EC2, okay, and there is, Lightsnail, Lightsnail, right? If I compare both of it, the EC2 has much more computational power as compared to the Lightsnail. Lightsnail can help you in deploying server which is of very little capacity, not much. That's why we do not use in the organization Lightsnail. This is for just, you can say, for beginners, you can say, right? Okay, but EC2 is like a big brother. It's giant. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, that's it. So these are the things which we look for when we choose for the right computational services. Okay, then there are other things which also, there's something which is called the scale part, right? The scale of your application, play a important role in your decision. So if you expect to handle a large number of requests, you need a compute service that can scale quickly and efficiently. The best example is this EC. So definitely, for sure, based upon your requirement also. Again, the scale also comes under the requirement part. So if you want to increase your requirement, if there is a huge requirement, you can scale up quickly. And now the requirement has gone, you can scale down quickly as well, right? Based upon that also, you choose that particular computer service. Okay, it varies. Some places you will be seeing EC2 would be greater, somewhere you will be seeing Lambda is good, right? Based upon your respective requirement, you will need that. Okay, that's it. Then there is something very, very important, cost, or you can say the price part, right? Where the things are. So if you are having a very small organization and you have a choice, if you are in a dilemma that for the customers, I have to make a server and that server would be running 24/7, and I does not want that because that would be costing me a lot of money to run a server 24/7. So what I do, I kind of go for the AWS Lambda, which is also a compute service, right? So what happens in the AWS Lambda? When the client comes to the website, then only the server is start running, and then only I am charged. So I am saving a lot of cost there. Okay, so if this 24/7, if it cost me like at least $200 for a good server, okay, $200 for a month, 24/7 it's running. Definitely if I are running a service with AWS Lambda, I will be saving even a lot. I have seen people, they have $50. You see here's huge for $200 to $50, even less than that. Okay, so that's the thing. So based upon your requirement, okay, that's it. And there is another thing is that the management requirement. Okay, So this compute services, right, AWS Lambda, Lightsnail require little minimal management, while others such as EC2 require much more management, right? Because Lambda is almost automation. You have to just enter the code. You have to, there would be somebody in your organization who would be good at programming part. He will writing a piece of a code for you. You will be just picking up that piece of a code there and just inserting it. That's it. Everything from now onwards would be an automation. Then you can just go home and just spend time with your family members. Okay, so the customers would be coming to a website, that particular piece of code would be running. Okay, it will keep on running, and for the moment, for 10 minutes that piece of code is running, you will charge for that's 10 minutes. When the clients goes away from the website, there is nobody, that piece of code stop running, now no charge, right? So that means no requirement, very few requirement is there, right? It is completely automation. And Lightsnail, why it's so? Because very few features are there. As I told you, in Lightsnail, it is for kids, you can say, who are just beginners in the cloud. I would say not the kids, but the beginners. Okay, that's it. But in the organization, we do not use it. Why? Because not a lot of features are there in the Lightsnail. It's for just small, for your own understanding about the different concepts. But this EC2 is the giant. Trust me, you need at least a team for to manage an EC2, because a lot of things you can do, not just servers you can deploy, you can create storages, right? You can encrypt them, multiple things you can do, right? There's something which is called the EBS, Elastic Block Store, which we'll be discussing in today's session as well. Okay, that is also a thing. So now guys, what we are going to do is that now we are going to move ahead to our next topic, which is called our hands-on lab, right? Launch a website. Can you explain Lambda function another time? Lambda function, see, it is a piece of a code. Okay, Veer, it is a piece of a code, right? Which is executed when certain conditions are met. In the Lambda, okay, just give me a minute. There are two things in the Lambda. First thing is the trigger, right? And the second thing is the function. Okay, the function is the piece of a code, any code in any language, JSON, JavaScript, Python, any piece of code would be there. Okay, so will that particular piece of a code would be running 24/7? Absolutely not, right? When it will be running, when there would be some certain conditions, so that conditions are defined in the trigger. Okay, so there are conditions and there is a code. The code is called the function, the condition is called the trigger. When the conditions are met, then that particular piece of a code is executed, otherwise it is not. Okay, got it? Yeah, so again I can tell you, like for example, as I was telling you about the smoke detectors. Again, there is a two thing in the AWS Lambda. You have to remember this thing, okay, before you need to before you understand what is an AWS Lambda, you have two things you need to understand it. There is a condition and there is a code. Okay, let's say for example, let's say again the example of a smoke detector. A smoke detector is present in my office right now where I am sitting. Okay, over my head there is a smoke detector present. Fine. Now really what happens in that particular smoke detector is that that particular smoke detector is not every time it is not beeping up. Fine, can you hear any kind of a beep? No, because it's not, right? But it is present there in a kind of a sleep mode. It is at say 10% power, it is working, it is just sensing the climate around it. Is it any air, having any fire or something like that? And 10% or even less than that, it is working. 95% it is in reserve state. Okay, okay, and there would be a piece of a code which will be saying that alarm. Okay, alarm would be generated, alarm would be there. So it doesn't mean that every time. So when will be that particular alarm would be running? When there would be condition. So when that condition matches, when it says fire, yes, so it will be going to the code running, and it will be start running that particular code, and that code says keep start beeping the alarm, right, with high frequency. That's it. So when the condition is met, a code is executed. Okay, when a condition is met, a code is executed. When a condition that there is a fire in the room, there is a fire in the house, that particular thing condition is met, then that particular piece of code running. So now it start making the noise. Okay, this is a very basic thing about the AWS Lambda. Okay, so now we are talking about launch a sample website on the Amazon EC2. Okay, let me show you a little bit about the EC2 part first of all. Okay, right? So right now I am in the EC2. Okay, this is my EC2. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, yep, this is my EC2 and I'm clicking on it, and let's get familiar with the EC2 part. What is an EC2 and all this kind of thing? Let's get familiar with it. Okay, so this is our EC2, right? This is an EC2 dashboard. First of all, understand what it is. This dashboard really helps you in understanding what is happening in the AWS. Okay, sorry, in the EC2, inside only the EC2. Again, I'm telling you, most people really get confused into it. Inside the AWS, we have plenty of resources. We have Lambda, AWS, S3, plenty of it. Okay, guys? Okay. Out of that particular many services, there is service with the name of EC2. Right now, we have logged into our AWS account, and out of that 100 of resources, now I have clicked into the EC2. Now I am inside the EC2. That's why you are able to see in here in the left hand side, it's written, I just selected it, which is EC2 dashboard. So right now I am inside the EC2. You may have heard about from my my previous lectures also. I have said multiple times that the EC2 really helps you in deploying the servers. That is just single job of the EC2. There are plenty others, right? This is not so EC2 just not only helps you in deploying the server, but also helps you in creating the backup. Okay, so like in the first day I was kind of doing the comparison. Remember that when I was comparing the on-premises one with the cloud part, and I was saying that it's good that in the cloud we have a backup mechanism. If something happens to it, it's at some a server, that particular backup is stored there. Okay, and we can retrieve our particular information and start our operation of your organization. You can do backup of your resources here also, and multiple things are there, right? Okay, see, you can scroll down. There is an AMI, you can do the snapshot. Okay, there is automation also. Okay, key pair is there, load balancer, right? Auto scaling, multiple things are there, guys. Okay, multiple things are there. Yeah, so now the disaster management you can also do with it, right? So what you can do is that you can set automation inside this EC2 only. Okay, so what you can do is that you can set a database in a such a way that, for example, there is some kind of a server is running. Okay, let's say there is a server is running, right? And it's a very critical server. It is kind of a server which is holding the information about some patients which are present in the ICU, right? And it's very important for them, right, to get what kind of diseases they are, how much severe it is, what kind of medications previously the doctors have, or the antibiotics, okay, or any kind of injection or something like that the doctor has given. It's very critical information. Okay, so what we do is that we kind of take a backup of it. If something happens, if there is certain kind of a failure or something like that, we can still retrieve that particular piece of information. Okay, and then the nurse or the doctors or the medical staff can look into particular that database, and they can that treatment of those individuals who are in that severe conditions is not affected. Okay, otherwise it will be quite mess. So doctor has to recall that this particular patient was there, did I have given him this particular antibiotics or not? So it would be kind of making this health condition even much more complex. Okay, these kind of things, and many things are there, right? The disaster thing. Okay, so you can do all those kind of things. See, in the left hand side, volumes is there. Volumes for the storage part, right? Okay, so this is the dashboard. You can see everything is 000. Okay, why I'm spending so much time? Because I want you guys, right? It's again my humble request. See, just attending the session would not upgrade your knowledge of the cloud. Trust me, if you're thinking this way, you are absolutely wrong. Cloud or any other technology or any other language, you can say, right? In India, we have multiple languages: Telugu, Tamil, Sanskrit, Hindi, Urdu, multiple are there, right? Just attending it does not make you good at the languages, neither at the programming languages as well, right? If I would be teaching you Python, it doesn't make you good at the Python. The only thing that you will be making good at you is the practice. The same applies to the cloud as well. If you really want to exceed into it, practice. You will be facing difficulties for sure. I'm not just giving you any kind of a dilemma that You will not face any kind of a difficulty. You will face for sure. And even to be very frank with you, I face a difficulty in the cloud part sometime by myself as well. And trust me, from 10 years from now, you will be asking me, Amit, have you mastered the cloud? No, nobody will ever say to you that you have mastered, because technology keeps on improving. You do mistakes, a lot of things are there, right? We have our own journey and those kind of things. So what you need to do is that you have to practice. Okay, keep this particular thing in mind. Just attending the session is the beginning, creating the account is the second thing. So that's why I'm emphasizing you that when you will be creating an account, so you have to see multiple things are there. Now keep focus into the screen part. There you will be seeing you have instance running, dedicated hosts, instances. So what is the launch configuration? Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, yeah. So there is a load balancer, there is security group, there's a volume, auto scaling, elastic IP, key pair, placement, snapshot. Okay, multiple things are there, right? So you can see in front of key pairs, right? In front of key pairs and in front of security group, you will be seeing that there would, in front of security group it is written 40 and in front of key pairs it is written 11. Except key pairs and security group, everything else is 0. Right, guys? Okay, got it? Why it is so? Because except security group and key pairs, you will be charged for rest of them. If you have instance running, if you have a load balancer, if you have a volume, if you have a snapshot, anything other than 0, right, you will be charged for that. Your billing would be start accumulating at the end of the month. The AWS will be kind of sliding the bill to you that this is Amit, this is a bill you have to pay. Otherwise, from next month onward, or from 10 to 20 days, you will not be able to access your AWS account, and I will be in big trouble, because my this is very very important for me. Okay, for my personal for my particular practice as well, for teaching my students as well, right? So except security group and key pair, other than that, except this both, you will, if you are using any service, you will be charged for that. Okay, the first thing up comes is, what is security group? Okay, anybody has any sort of an idea about a security group? It's a firewall, right? In the context of the AWS, the security group means the firewall. Okay, so I have 40, what is public key and a private key, right? Right, so that what's two key we can create for the security purpose, right? We can create two things, which is this key pair we can create for the security reason, which is the public key as well as the private key, right? So the public key definitely for sure is kept by the AWS in its database keep that particular public key, and the private key, the AWS provides it, right? And the help is to provide identity when it comes. Okay, yes, so it definitely increase our security. I will be using this key pair, right? And I will be showing you about the key pair part. Okay, right, so it kind of provides identity connecting with the Amazon or servers when we'll be doing it. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start making, so a lot of things are there, trust me, that you can have even separate codes running. Private keys where the destination server. Oh, Santosh, wait a minute, right? I think you're a little bit confused there. So this is a dashboard, right? Again, remember this thing, except key pair and security group. If you have any of them, running, you will be charged. Okay, remember this thing. Okay, and it varies from region to region. Okay, so like right now, in which region, guys, I am. So this is a database. So let's so this is how the EC2 looks like, right? Multiple things we can do. You can even uh, create a lot of things from it. Okay, what is a default region? Default region, you can say that region is that where where your account is particularly initially were present there. So first of all, before coming to the region part, let's deploy the instance. Okay, so this is a launch instance, right? Just scroll down, go to the EC2 bar, just scroll down and click on the launch instance, right? That's why I was spending so much time in the EC2 part, because I want you guys to understand what it is. Okay, so when you will be doing the hands-on thing, I does not want you that you start making mistakes. Okay, now in the name part, right? Now let's talk about the name part. Again, guys, see, many things are there in the EC2 part, and many things are there in the creation of the server. Not all of them I will be explaining, but little bit of things I will be explaining, which will be helping you to create a server with just minimum configuration. Okay. Okay. So now let's name the server. Let's name it one. Got it? Right. And the application and the OS image. See, this something. So this is a server which I am going to create with the name of one. Remember this thing. The region which I'm working right now is the Mumbai region. Please keep this particular thing in mind. Okay, people really really do mistakes in this kind of thing. Okay, so in AMI stand for your operating system. Okay, if you have really want to compare it with somebody or something else, like as I told you, security group means, yeah, machine image, you can also say that, but in order to relate and make it much more familiar with the students, I say that AMI is kind of, you can correlate with your operating system. Okay, that's it. So when you scroll down, so definitely what we are doing is that we are creating a server with the name of one. Okay, and you scroll down and you can see quick start. You have Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, and multiple more, right? So you have Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows. So these things you are seeing, these are the catalog you will be seeing. Okay, so these Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, you are seeing, these are the what? These are the catalogs. So for example, I want to create a Amazon Linux as a separate distro from the Linux. Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, the separate distortion of the Linux part. Okay. Yeah. So you have different kind of, okay, that's it. So here you will see I have multiple different catalogs. So I want to create my server with the operating system of Windows. So I click on the Windows part, and here I have, see, free tier eligible written here. I will be choosing this free tier eligible one. Okay, free tier eligible means I will not be charged for that. Okay, Ashok, does AWS support Solar OS? You have to go and look into it. See, you have here some browse more AMI. You can click on it and you can look into it whether it supports Solar OS or not. Okay, that's the thing. Multiple thousand operating systems are present there. You can just go and look into it whether it's supported or not. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ashok. Okay. Yeah. So you can see here an option of something which is called browse more AMI. You can click on it and you will be able to see multiple options. Okay. So right. Because to be very frank, I have never used in the AWS part the Solar OS in the context of the Ubuntu, so I have not never seen it. But the AWS keep on updating the database. That could be a thing. So you have to go and look into it, right? Because thousands are there. Yeah. So these are things which are generally used. So now I have selected Microsoft Windows Server 2022 base, which is free tier eligible. It means this operating system which I have selected. Okay. So it's free tier eligible. Okay. You scroll down and free tier eligible means that it is free of cost. You will not be charged for it. Okay. And then you have something which is called the verified provider. It means that it is the AWS has definitely, I am now choosing Windows. Okay. So guys, Windows is the product of which company? Absolutely, Microsoft, right? And the service right now we are using is of Amazon. So definitely for sure, Amazon has reached to the Microsoft and said that can I use your Windows? Microsoft, they would be having some kind of a big, um, kind of deal, right? And the Microsoft would be have said that okay, you can take us, but anytime somebody creates a using our Windows operating system, a kind of deploy a server, so you will be some kind of paying us the charge. So they would be having some kind of a deal, right? Okay, so verified provider means that Amazon is saying that this particular operating system that you have choose is from a genuine person. This is from a reputed person or a person which I can verify is not a malicious person. For example, why this is so important? Because in an organizations you can see that that many people have that this kind of a okay, let's say in India particularly, India or across the globe, I have seen this particular problem with the youngsters, particularly they are very fond of playing the games, okay? But they think that if you want to buy a game, whether it's for PC or the PlayStation or the Xbox, particularly it's a problem with the PCs, right? So if you want to play a game in the PC, there is a latest game with the name of God of War Ragnarok, and definitely for sure, if you want to play that particular game in your PC, you have to spend at least 6 to 7 thousand Indian rupees. Okay, this is it, right? So what could happen is that, yeah. Okay, yeah, definitely, Anuj. Right. So multiple things can happen in the the gaming community, right? Particularly if you particularly go for free tier one, okay, not the legitimate one I'm talking about, but the free tier one. So for example, so for the free one. So for example, if there is a game with the name of, I'm very fond of that particular game with the name of God of War Ragnarok. Okay, it's very expensive. It's very latest, right? 67,000 rupees, and I have somewhere I have seen 8,000 rupees as well. It is a lot for a game, okay? But I do not want to spend 8,000 rupees on a single piece of game, which I will be completing within, within a week, right? Right? So I do not want to do that. So what I will be doing? I will be definitely for sure going to and searching that particular game, some kind of torrent or illegal websites, right? But the consequences of that thing is that definitely with the game, some kind of a viruses also get attached to it and inserted inside your system, and many people really get um, they face the consequences of that, right? So there could be some malicious virus software could also get inserted into it, and now you are in big trouble. So it could be spyware, trojan, or something like that. So anything you will be doing inside your PC, it will be transmitting it back to the hacker, or collecting the information, or encrypting your information, or stealing it. That it could be a big problem, right? So to resolve that particular issue, that's why this particular green, you're seeing a green mark with a letter written here, verified provider, because Amazon is well aware about that particular issue, where you can go over in the greed of very cheap operating system, you can go over the internet and just type Microsoft Windows 10 cracked version, and you can get that. I can guarantee you that if you go to the websites, torrent and all those kind of illegal websites, definitely for sure you will be getting a free version of Windows 11. If you go to the to market and you start buying it in India, you will be getting it for 8 to 9, even for 10,000 rupees as well, right? So why you spend so much money into single operating system? You can just go to the torrent and just buy it out. But the problem is that when that particular operating system you will be rebooting up, that system could already be compromised. So anything you will be doing inside it, keeping your photos, personal photos, it will start stealing it. Okay, that could be a big problem. To resolve that particular issue, this green button is there, which is with the name verified provider. Okay, this green button is there. So it tells you, it's kind of give the confidence that this particular soft operating system that I'm providing you is from the Microsoft only, a legitimate person who is actually creating the operating system. Okay, this is what the verified provider means. Got it, guys? So that's the importance of it, right? Yeah. And now there's something which is called the instance type. Instance type means hardware configuration. So definitely for sure, if you are building up an operating system or a server, you need multiple things. You need a software within which I have explained, which is called the AMI, and now we have something which is called the instance types, T2 micro. Okay, this is it. This is a CPU configuration and all those kind of things. And now you have something which is called the key pairs. Okay, in the key pair part, what I am going to do is that I am going to create a key pair, because at the end of after creating this particular server, what I'm going to do is that now I'm going to go inside it and create a website, sort of, right? Not exactly, but a kind of, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's create a key pair that will help you in the, when we will be logging into the server which we are creating right now. So click on create new key pair and enter the key pair name, key pair 1. Okay, this is it. And .pem is that for. This is putty is for particularly for the Linux part. And if you're using Windows, go for this OpenSSH, this .pem, right? Okay. Click on the create key pair. See, the moment I clicked on it, you can see at the bottom is something which is called the key pair 1.pm has downloaded in my particular system. Guys, are you able to see that? This one I'm talking about. Exactly. So what happened? The moment I clicked on create key pair, what has happened is that AWS has created two keys. One is the public key, this PUB public key, and PVT private key. Okay. AWS send the private key to me. This is the private key which we do not share it with anybody, and the public key they keep in their own database. Okay, that's it. And now what will happen is that when I want to access into my instance, and I will be providing this my private key, it will be comparing the public and a private key, and it will be finding out whether they match or not. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, so I have created a key pair. Fantastic. It's a very important thing. Okay, you can see here it is, if you click on it, you can see option proceed. If the key is lost, will we lose access to the instance or it can be recovered? No, you will lose the access to the instance for sure, Anuj, right? Yep. Or you have to contact the service center, or you can say, yeah, you have to contact the AWS for that. Okay, to resolve that issue. But that's not the best practice, I would say. In many organizations, I have seen that they have kind of, a kind of a Google Drive centralized location where if you have this particular key pair, okay, they kind of any software provides you the key pair, okay, a piece of it. You kind of take this key pair and upload it over the Google Drive, something like that, in a safe vault or a safe digital location, right? So it does not lost it. Okay, this is it. But it should be kept very secretly. Otherwise, it could create a lot of a problem. Okay. So this is it. Network setting. This is a network VPC and all those kind of things are there, right? Which is much more configuration. So I'm not touching it. Keep it as default at a beginner stage. This is firewall security group means firewall. This is also I'm not touching it, right? Okay, perfect. And this is a configuration part. In the configuration part, you can see this is the storage, right? Definitely for sure when you create a uh, computer, right, inside that computer you have two things: operating system, right, and the hardware. Actually, the hardware, can you please come again with the keys? Okay, wait a minute, yeah. Okay, so what you need to do is that if you want to do it, you click on create pair and I enter the key pair which you want to create. Click on .pem if it is for Windows, and if it is for the Linux, go for the .ppk. Okay, and click on the create key pair. Okay, that's it. Yeah, and keep default is secure network security. And see, when you're creating a server, a machine, operating system, or any laptop or a PC, you have two things: operating system and hardware. Okay, definitely the hardware, you have something which is called the your hard disk. Okay, where you store your information. So in the configuration storage, this is the hard disk of that particular server. So 30 GB I am allotting. So the server would be having a hard disk attached with 30 GB capacity. Okay. So this configure storage means the hard disk. Okay. It is much more, detailed thing, but just an overview I'm telling you right now. Okay. Okay. So now now the best practice is that before creating and clicking on launch instance, the best practice is that just go through this particular configuration that you have selected. Name, AMI, Windows Server 2022 base, instance type, key pair, this is the key pair, okay, security group, and this is configuration and all this kind of thing. It's good. Fine, I'm happy with it. And now let's click on the launch instance. Okay, guys. So guys, we need to wait at least, you know, 2 to 3 minutes for it to work. You can see here something which is called the pending, you will see, which we have to wait for, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's keep on click on the refresh part. It's still initializing. You will be seeing 2x2 check pass, right? Because see, now what is happening is that this is definitely running state it has reached, but now AWS is also doing some kind of, long. Uh, so AWS is also doing a kind of a background check, whether it's running properly, all this kind of thing, right? AWS is kind of, doing some kind of test. So we will be waiting for that as well. Network, Santosh, network we will be skipping, right? Because network is a very complex thing. Tomorrow I will be discussing the network and the VPN, all this kind of thing. Okay. Network. Okay. So that's for any, because you are a beginner. So I would skipping the network part. So do not touch the network and the security part. Okay. Yes, Anand. The moment I will be launching this particular server, I will be charged. Okay. The moment it will be start running, you will be start saying 2x2, you will start charging for that. Trust me, from many, I've been working in the field of cloud from 3 years. I have never deleted a key pair. Trust me. In one of my account, from the older account, you will be seeing 200 or 300 keys pairs or more than that. So why to worry about it? Because it's just a free of cost. So why just you want to share it with somebody else? Because the moment you share it to somebody else could use it and gain access to your server, and you will be in big trouble for that. It is running. Is it free tier? Maybe charge? No, Veer. See, you will not be, if it's in the free tier one, you will not be charged. Okay. Yep. But if it's in the free tier one, yeah, see, 2x2 check pass. Now we are good. So see why I said that I will be charged, because I have exhausted my free tier capacity for this month. Okay, so that's why I will be charged. Otherwise, if you will be doing it and you are new to the AWS and your account has not, you know, exceeded the duration of 1 year, if you kind of deploy a server, you will not be charged. Okay, yeah, that's the thing. You just refresh it and see, we are good to go. This is our server, and you click on it, you click on the server and see the moment something comes down, just start coming up in this particular part. Details, security, network, storage, status check, monitoring, and all those kind of things start coming up. Okay, so what you're going to do is that we are going to click on the, suppose for the instance launch, just now I had a key pair created. Suppose key pair can be see, once you have logged into AWS account, then you can do that. Okay. But trust me, do not lose it. Uh, because you can really, definitely for sure be in the trouble. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Do not lose it, right? Do not share it. Do not lose it. Okay. You will be in big trouble for sure. So now this is the thing right in front of your screen, and you can see that there is, when I click on the detail part, there's two things which are called the public address and a private address. So if I want to get an access to my particular this account, what I need is the public. Okay, public means if I provide you this particular IP address, you will be easily get inside this particular thing. Okay, you will not be able to do that for sure, because I have, by default there is a security thing is there which will not let you do that. But if you want to enter inside this particular this particular server which we have created, this is the public IP for that. So let's select this. Now what I'm going to do is that now I'm going to go inside this particular IP. How to do that? Going to go to the search bar, type RDP, remote desktop, okay, connection, or sometime protocol. You can use this RDP to connect to your particular server. So what guys, okay, what I'm doing is I am now entering inside this particular server. Okay guys, once again I am repeating, I am now entering inside this particular server that I have created. So I will be opening this RDP. This, if you are Windows, this is by default would be present in your, that Windows. Okay, you just need to go into search bar and type RDP, and you will be finding it. Here you will be typing in the computer part, you will be typing, which is called, oh, just wait a minute. You will just copying this public IP. Go to the RDP, paste it, okay, and connect. See, you will be getting username and all this kind of thing, right? Username and a password. Okay. So guys, what we are going to do is that we are going to go for a break, and after that break, I am going to go, take you inside this particular server. Okay. So we are going to go for a break, and after that, we'll be continuing this particular hands-on thing. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's start. Right. So now we would let me share my screen, and yeah. So as you can see in my particular screen here, it is written enter your credentials, right? So these credentials would be used to connect to this is the IP address of my server that I have, created, and it is running. I will be charged for that. Okay. So it is 13.233.88.47. Okay. So it's asking for the username and a password. Keep these things in mind, guys. Okay. What would be the username for everyone? Each and every one of you, right? The username would be same. You can change it afterwards, right? But initially it would be the same. Okay, when you will log inside it, and then you can change the username, but initially this will be same for every person who in creating or who is entering inside the server for the first time. Okay, so it would be administrator. Don't make the typos. Let me check my particular spelling also. Yeah, right, administrator. So many of you would be asking me that, Amit, why administrator? Why not something else? Because it is written in the documentation. As I told you, the documentations is the guide, is an actual guide, or the piece of an information which is updated and maintained by the AWS by itself. Okay, that would happen in the administrator. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the password part. What would be the password? So each and every one of you, whenever you will be creating a server, in whichever location you would be creating it, you will be writing the username, username administrator. Okay, then you can change it afterwards. You can, when you have entered inside it, then you can change it, no problem with that. And now what will be the password? How to get the password? That is a very tricky and very interesting thing, how to get inside the password. Okay, so for a minute, just minimize it, and now what you need to do is that just click on it, right, and go to the security part. Can we use private key instead of the password to access the RDP? Yes, you can do that, but that's a higher thing. Okay, yes, definitely for sure, Ashok, that's the possibility, where what you can do is that you can just replace the key and use the password as well. Okay, okay, but initially you have to do that, right? For right now, from the private key only, you will be getting the password. Okay, I will be showing you from the private key. You will be using the decrypting the private key, and you will be getting the password, and next time you will be using that same password, no problem with that. Okay, yeah, yep. And once you have logged inside it, you can change the password as well. Okay, that's it. You can use and you can change the username, and you can change the password as well. It's all up to you. Fine. Yeah. So okay, so how to get the password? Can we use the okay, right? Yeah. So how to get a password? Click on your server, go to the security part. Multiple options would be there. Go to the security part. You will see here get Windows password. Click on that. And this is the screen you will be getting. Get Windows password. Okay. And here you will be seeing option which is saying upload private key file. Click on it. And it will be showing you multiple things like right from selecting, and I will be clicking on the download part, and see here it is keypair.1.pf, which the key pair that I have created, right? This is it. Click on it and I open it and see it has selected, and now I'm going to click on, just give me a minute. Yeah, click on decrypt the password, right? This thing would be coming in front of me. Connect to your Windows instance using the remote desktop with information. This is the instance which I have ID of the instance. This is the private IP, which is another thing which I will be explaining you tomorrow. What is this private and public? When we will be discussing about the VPN part, guys. This is the username, administrator. Okay, it will be same for each and every one of us. in every instance, no matter what the hardware configuration of the operating system is. And this is the password. When you decrypt that private key, this is the password. Okay, this is it. And very important thing, in the AWS, when you get this particular button, okay, let's keep this button, you get that, right? This, kind of square with another overlapping square. You get that, you click on it. Okay, you click on it. Don't you not just paste it, because sometimes what can happen is that you can accidentally select a space as well. That could create a problem, right? So click on it and see your password copied. Fine. Click on OK and you're good to go. Now go to again to the RDP part, and now here you have taken the administrator and the password, just paste it. Okay, yeah, just paste it and that's it. You right, and next time you can see this password somewhere else and you can use it multiple times. You does not need to now decrypt it. You have already decrypted it, right? That could be a thing. But remember this thing, if it gets compromised, you are in big trouble. Okay, so okay, the computer cannot connect to the remote desktop. The two computers could not connect to the amount of time allotted. Try connecting again. If the problem continue, contact the network administrator or technical support. Okay, that could be things that really can come. Okay, yep. So let's try it again, right? No problem with that. This is because one thing I can tell you guys, that sometime you will be seeing this kind of things. Okay, yeah, so let's copy it again. Okay, just remove it, paste it again, right? This is the IP address. Okay, and okay, wait a minute, let me refresh it. Yeah, it's good and running. Yeah, everything is fine in my server. Let's connect it. Let me type the username. Username was administrator. Okay, administrator. In the password, what was the password? Let's go and find it out, the password once again. Click on this thing, right? Get the user's Windows password, upload your private key. This was the private key. You click on it, you click on this part, you get this password, and okay. Okay, let's try it again. See if the problem persists. And depending on the error, we will be doing a okay, WEV, I think it is good. Okay, we are good, right? This kind of thing would be popping up. Do not worry about it. Just click on the yes part. And congratulations, guys. We have entered into the server which we created right now. The server with the name of 1. I'm just entering inside it, right? A lot of process is going on. Okay, as I told you, we have to be patient. Okay, in the cloud part. So within few minutes, it would be running. It's already running, right? You will be seeing the interface. So definitely a black screen is there, but give it a minute or two. See, a lot of things are, opening up. It just looks like your particular normal PC, but it is a server. Right now, I am inside a server. I can, many of you would be asking me question that, Amit, if I want to, upload any kind of file, what to do? Just drag it, drag and drop, simple. And this thing you get, click on the yes part. Simple, you just drag and drop it, nothing else. Just give it a minute, okay? Get at least 2-3 minutes for it to, because a lot of things are going on in the background. So that's the thing. Yes, Samuel, the RDP port is open in the security groups, right? Okay. Say we can make a networking changes or manage it like the IP. Yes, you can do networking changes, absolutely, for sure, right? That's all come down under the VPN part. Sorry, VPC part. While setting up the server, you enable or disable request port, I think. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I will be showing you that security part, which will be configuring it as well. Okay, just give it a minute. Okay. Okay, I think it's good. Yeah, it's good. Right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that now I'm going to just minimize it and go to the security group of this thing. Just select it, right? Go to the security and security group. This is a security group in the firewall. Click on it in the inbound rule. Okay. In the inbound rule, this is inbound rule, right? Yeah, this is inbound rule. And what I'm going to do is that edit inbound rules. And this is the screen you'll be getting. This is an RDP. RDP connection is already enabled, right? So anybody, if he's using RDP, he can access it. This is already a thing which is created by default. Fine. The whole thing people who are asking that what about the RDP? So it is already in the firewall. It is written that RDP, if there is a connect this, if there is any kind of request from the RDP 0.00 from anybody anywhere, they can make a connection. I'm adding one more rule about HTTP, right? And from anywhere and save the rule. Now I have created myself for this particular instance. Okay, and just click on the instance part. Yes, that could be Shruti. It could be a security flaw if the RDP is enabled by default, but we are not going to that part, right? To resolve that issues, there are some, checks, some mechanism in place which you can use, but I'm not going to do that because it will increase the complexity. Right now, I want to make it very simple. Okay, okay, rather, okay. But yes, definitely for sure. Okay, so let it give it a minute. Okay. Okay, right. We are good. Okay. So now what you're going to do is that we are going to again go back to the okay now inside it we are going to host a website. Okay, not actually. I will be typing some words and you will be able to display it. I will be showing you. Give it a minute. Okay. Now you need to click on the start menu and then go to the file manager. Where is the file manager? Or File Explorer, you can say. Yep. Okay. Right now we are doing this particular thing inside the server. Now from here, what you need to do is that this PC. Okay, click on this PC part and then create a desktop. Yeah. Okay, as well for the future thing. Again, as I told you, you can just drag and drop. At the time of creating this instance, can we disable the RDP? Yes, you can do that, but then you will, it will be quite difficult for you to. Then you have to go to the security part. Okay, then you have to make a rule, and then it will be allowed for you to make a connection. Okay. Okay, Shad. That's the thing. So, like for example, when I created the server, it was written there in the security part. It was written there that RDP connection, and there was a tick. I can disable it. But what was happening is that if I disable it, then I have to, when I want to make a connection to this particular thing, I have to go manually in the security group, then create a rule, and then I will be able to run it. Okay, that's the thing. You can disable it by self. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. So this is it. You go inside this, you go to the C drive. Okay, and the C drive. Okay, wait a minute. Before this thing, there's a thing which is I need to go. Just give me a minute, guys. Yeah, okay. Before that, okay, I skipped a step. So just click on this Windows icon and click on the server manager, right? Okay. The server manager is starting up. Right. And just click on it and give it a minute as well. So things that I'm going to, do here is much more complex, right? Things. So give it a minute. At least give it a minute, okay? Otherwise, you will be getting an error for sure. Let it refresh it. Let's refresh it. And I think we are good. Yep. Okay. So what you need to do is that click on add roles and features. right? When you click on add roles and features, you click on the next, right? Click on the next and next. And when you will be seeing the server roles, right? Something which is called IIS, web server IIS, this thing, you have to select this thing and you click on add feature. Okay, you click on it, right? And then you click on next and next and next, next and install, right? So now you are kind of installing a web server in your particular PC, this particular server. Okay, so till here it was just a server. Now you're installing a kind of a software for the web server. Okay, okay, so let's wait. So let's wait. Okay, so let it installation succeed. Okay, installation has succeeded. Okay, okay, so installation succeeded at this is yes, we have successfully installed it. Now what you need to do is that you just minimize it. Okay, and now what we are going to do is that we are going for this particular. Okay, we have already this local disk C, right? Inside it, you will be finding this particular. Accidentally, I have opened the to count. This PC in the local C, you will be seeing this inetpub, right? This thing, you just click on it, which is created because we installed it, so it created a file. Inside this inetpub, what you need to do is that which is actual location where the content of that particular website would be. Okay, so open the file in the folder with the name of www root. Okay, this location you need to remember, and this is the information about that particular website which will be hosted inside the server. So I want to change it. Okay, let's do that. And just click on it and open with your notepad. Let's open it with the notepad. HTML code is there, right? If you're familiar with the HTML code, see HTML, the head and the HTML and multiple things are there. Okay, inside it. I'm just selecting everything, removing it, and I'm writing hello everyone. Oh, hello everyone, right? That's what I'm writing. And now what I'm going to do is that just Control A, select, save, and yep, I'm good to go. All I need to do is that just minimize it, minimize this particular web server, okay, and refresh it. Select this particular server once again, select this public IP of this particular server, and then I'm going to open it in another tab and now I'm going to paste it and let's see. Guys, can you see that? Yeah. So you can do anything. I've just written hello everyone. If you are good with it's accessible only. Okay. Yes. So anybody can access that as well. So what you can do is that, see, this is hello everyone, which I have written here. If you have the understanding of HTML hypertext markup language, if you have the understanding of that uh, CSS, okay, then you have an understanding of same thing we can create. Yeah, same thing we can create a website. There in that particular folder which I have opened with the notepad, I have written hello everyone. You can write an HTML code here there as well, right? You can write the JavaScript, or you can insert multiple files there as well, and you can actually create a beautiful file. Okay, so you can HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, these all three combined together and create a beautiful. Okay, so this is it. So this is kind of a demonstration, and I think you would be liking it, right? Okay, and I want you guys to practice this thing. Okay, practice, practice, and practice, guys. That is the key. Okay, right? And then only you will be becoming a master into this. Okay, Charan, say the steps once. See, Charan, what you need to do is that file edit. Samuel, please go back to the file edit. Okay, okay, wait a minute. Let me show this. Let me summarize it. Okay. Okay, so what you need to do is that go to the particular RDP connection. This is it. First of all, you need to do is that you need to click on your particular Windows and you go to the server manager, open it. In the server manager, click on the roles and features. First of all, let this particular server manager breathe for a minute. Okay, remember this thing. Otherwise, it will give you error initially. Okay, give it at least a minute or two. Then click on next, 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 and then you will be seeing server roles. In the server roles, there would be something which is called web server IIS. Okay, this will be present. In my case, it is selected because I have initially selected it right now in front of your eyes. You have to do that and then click on clicking next, and it will take at least 2-3 minutes to install. Once it has completed the installment, then what you need to do is that you need to decrease the server manager. Give me a minute, a lot of things are going in my screen. Yeah, okay, then you have done that. Then what you need to do is that then you have to go to the local disk C inside your server. Okay, and inside your this PC, inside the local disk C, and here you will see something, a file which is created inetpub. This one, the second one, you click on it, and here you will see a file with the name www root. You click on it, and two files would be there, right? IIS start. You can change it the name as well, no problem with that. The initial one with this particular logo. Let me increase the size of the bit. Extra large. This one, okay, this one you click on it, open with Notepad or any other editor you can choose, and write it something here. Let's write hi, or you can say ABC, anything. Okay, let's select it all, save. Okay, now it's done, and let's click it and just minimize your this particular server. Now I'm back to my particular machine, this laptop from which this PC from which I'm taking the session. Let's refresh it, go back to my particular IP address. This was it. Previously it was hello everyone. I am now refreshing it. Now it's ABC. Got it? All right, guys. Quick chat question. So please back to the file editor. Yeah, right. I think it's good. Okay. Yep. Okay, everyone. So guys, I want you guys to practice this thing. Okay. So in order to practice this thing, you definitely you have to create an AWS account. Otherwise, it would not be possible. Okay. So yeah. So this is a launch of our website. This is not exactly like in the PDF you're saying, PPT you're saying, right? This dramatically engineer or this kind, this higher graphics and all this kind of thing. You can also do this thing, but I've shown you the path, right? You have to learn the HTML and the CSS as well for that, but you have got the idea how to launch it. Okay. Now let's talk about AWS storages, right? So in the AWS, we have multiple storages where we can store our information. Let's go and talk about it, right? So we have something which is called the S3 simple storage service, right? Very, very important thing, which is kind of a backbone of the AWS. It is kind of your Google Drive with much more advanced features. But remember this thing, that information that you're storing there definitely would be stored in some kind of database. AWS will be charging you for that, because at the end of the day, definitely somewhere it would be that information would be kept. Okay, so you will creating a file, folder, something like that. So for that, AWS will be charging you, right? Okay, so this is it, right? So AWS has storages type like the S3 simple storage service, which I will be showing you in a hands-on thing. Very, very beautiful thing it is, right? And there is something which is called the EBS, Elastic Block Store. EBS you can relate like the S3 is like your Google Drive, a big brother of your Google Drive, much more advanced feature. This S3, sorry, this EBS, Elastic Block Store, is your hard disk. Remember this thing. Whenever you see AWS EBS, think about the hard disk, right? Okay, this is your hard disk. Okay, then we have something which is called Amazon EFS, Elastic File System. It is a scalable and it is fully managed system. Just give me a minute, right? that that kind of provide the storage for your EC2 instance. So you in case of EBS, you can also use this EFS also, right? And it's kind of it's very suitable for storing and sharing the file across multiple EC2 instances. Kind of a hands-on thing in higher courses I teach this. You can also do that, right? Normally not in the basic we will be using this ECS a lot. In a at a beginner stage we do not use EFS a lot, but it is also a very important component. Here also you can store information. Okay. Then there's something which is called the Amazon Glacier. So Amazon Glacier, it is kind of a thing which is present inside the S3, and what it does is that it's kind of provide you the your particular information that you keep inside it. It's kind of give you a guarantee that it would be secure and it will be durable, right? And if you want to store any piece of information for a long duration of a time, you can keep inside the Amazon Glacier. Okay, so for example, if let's say in India, hypothetically, okay, the state government makes a rule, any of the state government make a rule in India that, or in the context of the US, yeah, definitely they have also the state government. Yeah, so any state government or the local government make a rule that all the people who are present inside this state, their medical records would be kept for 5 years. Okay, so definitely what the companies would be doing is that they will be not keeping the folder in normal storages. They will be keeping it in something which is called the Amazon Glacier. Glacier means like the glaciers, guys. You remember that glacier? So this glacier is guys. So glaciers, I think you guys are familiar about the glacier part, that in the Arctic, like you have heard about, you have seen in the National Geography or the Discovery Channel or the Animal Planet, right? There is a polar bear roaming around and there is a huge um, glaciers are there, right? And we keep on hearing about that the glaciers are melting and all this kind of thing. So same thing, because glaciers, we think that they are our fresh water source and they are being freezed, right? Same in the Amazon glacier also. You have some kind of an information and that particular information is freezed for a long duration of time. For 2-3 years, you do not want that information, but it is important, right? Yes, Samuel, it is a class of an S3, right? It's this glacier comes under the S3 part. Okay, yes. So if you will be using the S3, this thing features you will be getting inside the S3. A lot of information. If the information is huge, for that you will be storing it. And for file storage, you can say that if just for the file, you can say that if there is 2-3 files or just for few files for very short capacity, you will be using it, because that's a quite different thing. Okay, EBS block storage. Oh, EBS block storage. See, it is kind of, it's kind of a hard disk. I told you about it. Okay. So, yeah. So it is kind of, your hard disk, block storage and the file storage. So so the file storage is much more advanced as compared to the block storages. Okay. Much more features are there, much more interesting things. So you can say, it is kind of a hard disk only, but with much more capacity and capability, right? That's it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, got that. Yep. So let's move ahead. And now this EBS part. So see, Amazon EC2 instance storage and Amazon Elastic Block Store. See this particular diagram, right? In this diagram, you can see that there is a blue, this is EC2 instance. This is particularly your instance. This one, this is an instance, and this is a EBS, Elastic Block Store, right? This is a place, this is a hard disk, right? This is your hard disk, which holds the information about the EC2. So it again, as I told you, this EC2 is your system, computer, laptop, whatever you want. It is that EC2, and this EBS is the hard disk of it. So definitely, you can see here in this diagram, it is of 6 GB, right? And it's connected to the EC2. EC2, you see anywhere EC2 instance, it means your system, it is running, or machine, laptop, anything. Okay, and definitely your machine, laptop, PC, anything would be having some kind of a storages where they will be storing the information. So that you can see that EC2 is connected to the EBS. EBS is the hard disk. Okay, and the storage capacity is the 6 GB. You can increase it as well. There are a lot of other rules for that as well. Okay, so this is just about the EBS. Whenever you see EBS, EBS means the hard disk which is connected to the EC2. Okay, and what can happen there is that you can share the information. Okay, where you can store the information and you can also share it afterward as well. Okay, Very, very important thing is EBS part as well. But I have just given you an overview. Okay, again, very important thing. Object storage with Amazon S3. In S3, whenever I will be showing you, there's something which is called object. You will be seeing object, object. Every time they will be saying object. Object means file cell folder, guys. Simple as that. An object means files and folder. Okay, that's what an object is. Anytime you see in S3 particularly any file, anything related to, you can say, uh, anything related to object, it means your files and folder, right? Remember this particular thing, this particular diagram. Okay, this is it, which I will be showing you as well. So guys, now let's do the hands-on thing. Okay, with the S3 part. Let's do that, guys. Just give me a minute. Let me switch back to my AWS account. Guys, give me a minute. Let me switch down the server. Now, how to go to the S3 part? How to do that? So this is my screen, right? This is you will be getting when you will be logging into AWS account. In the S3 part, click on the search bar, click on S3. This particular bucket would be coming. You click on this, right? This is a scalable storage service in the cloud. S3, it's a backbone. Every piece of information which is created, it is stored in here only. If you want to store the information for a longer duration of time, you will be using the feature of Glacier. Yeah. So if, for example, okay, let's take an example, a short example. Let's say Indian government recently make a rule, or they are about to make a rule that all the VPN provider in India would be maintaining a database of all the users, right, who are using the services and which kind of websites they are going, what is the IP address of their website, what is the location of that particular user for 5 years, right? So for example, if I am using a VPN in India and I am I'm visiting some kind of websites, so that particular VPN provider in India would be maintaining a database for at least 5 years, and government can access, Supreme Court, High Court could access that as well. Okay, in India, that definitely there are some ways to access it, right? But the government or the courts can access that as well. Whether I'm going through using VPN, I'm going to some kind of terrorist or illegal websites, right? So that's the thing. So for 5 years, why you will be needing a kind of hard disk? You will be storing in any kind of a hard disk, right? That doesn't make any sense. So what you will be doing is that you will be taking that huge amount of information and putting it in the AWS Glacier, and it will be like freezing. Okay, it will be just lying there and it will be just present there, okay, for 5 years, and you can retrieve it back. Okay, and for sure AWS charges a less for that as well. Okay, so if you want to store any kind of information in another service, or it's a part of S3, it's a part of S3. In the S3 you can get this kind of thing. Okay, you have these options, and if you go in the S3 in the advanced part, you have this option in the S3 only. Okay, because at the end of the day, the data is stored in the S3 only. No matter which service you use, the data already is stored in the S3 only. Okay, let me just show you quickly how this S3 part is. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. Okay, so this is a bucket, right? Bucket is your drive, guys, right? If you want to use S3, you have to create a bucket. Okay, like you have C, D, E, F drives, you have the buckets in the S3. So these are all the buckets that I have already. Let me minimize my screen. See, these are all the buckets that I have. Please start S3 again. All you need to do is, Hitesh, is that go to the go in the search bar, type S3. That's it. Go type S3, click on the S3 bar, and this is you will be redirecting to this page. Okay. In your case, you will not be having any kind of a bucket. This all the buckets that I have created by myself. Right. For your sake, I am going to create a bucket again. Let's do that. Let's create a bucket. Click on it. Bucket name, anything. Let's say anything, right? But do not do this particular thing in an organization. 158. Yeah. Okay. In an organization, definitely there would be some sort of a protocols would be there. You have to follow that. Please start this. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So keep everything by default, right? Do not touch anything for now. And you scroll down, and what you're going to do is that you're going to click on create a bucket. Successfully created the bucket. This bucket I have created successfully. Then you will be asking, why, Amit, you are creating such random words? Why do not a proper word you are using it? I will be also showing that. Why am you using this random words? Okay, if I go and start using some proper words, I will be in big mess. This is a kind of a glacier. This is a kind of, you know, bucket that I've created, and everything I will be doing inside, you know, whatever data it will be storing, I will be storing inside this. So first of all, if you want to use S3, you need to create buckets. It is like mini drives. It is like inside the S3, you have drives inside the S3s. Okay, so like a Google Drive, you have multiple S3 drives. You have to create them, and then only you will be able to store information. If you do not create any bucket, you will not be able to store stuff, any kind of file, right? Okay, guys, remember this thing. Okay, yeah. So let's go inside it. Okay. Before going inside it, let's create another bucket. Let's go and create another bucket. Right, I want to show you something to you guys. Okay, let's name something like glacier. Okay. Okay, let's name something glacier, or let's name something Amit. Right, Amit 123. Right, I'm naming it. Can we say bucket as a storage? Yes, bucket is a storage. Okay, Bashok. Bucket is the place where we store things. That's why I'm from the beginning only. I'm telling you that yeah, bucket, sorry. S3, you can say storage. Bucket, you can compare it with your drives. Okay, let's see, at the end of the day, no matter which file you have, you will be having drives in your PC, right? C, D, E drives, and definitely for sure, all the information are stored at the drives only. So the buckets are your drives. Okay, you have to create a bucket in order to store any kind of an information. If you have already a bucket, that's good. But if you do not have any kind of a bucket, you have to first create it. Okay, that's it. So bucket, this is my bucket name. Again, I'm creating 123. Okay, just scroll down, click on create a bucket, and see, guys, what it is written. I'm just zooming in. I want you guys to read it. Bucket with the same name already exists. It means that this thing, it is the AWS is comparing it with the complete global. Let's say there are millions, hundreds and millions of people who are using AWS platform across the globe, like in the Canada, US, Japan, London, everybody is using it. And millions of crores and crores of, you know, buckets would be there created by each and every individual across the globe. I should not have the same, you know, it means that two buckets would not have the same name, right? So out of the millions of buckets that are present there, no two bucket could have the same name. Let's say, for example, you have your Gmail address. Let's say, for example, I have like Amit Pandey something at the rate gmail.com. That is unique. Okay. If I have created already an account with that particular email username, Amit Pandey something with 123 at the rate gmail.com. Okay, so if you have done that, you cannot do it inside the Google platform. You cannot create another Google Drive, you know, that particular account with that Amit Pandey 123 at the rate gmail.com. You cannot do that. It will telling you already an account created. Same thing here also. You cannot create another bucket name which is already created. So somebody in the entire world would have already created with the name Amit123. So that's why I cannot create a bucket name. That's why, to, you know, in the session, what I do is that I just type random words. Okay, that's why I did it. Right, that is the thing. Okay, so this was it. Now let's go inside this. Okay, see, object, as I told you, are the files and folder inside it. Okay, you can see files and folders. If you want to upload something, you click on the upload, add the file and the folder, right? And what I can do is that, so what I'm going to do is that, okay, so this is it, right? Now what I'm going to do is that after bucket creation, with the next step, after bucket creation, click on the bucket. This is, you will be getting, this is the bucket name. After clicking on it, this is the page you will be getting. Click on the upload. Okay, click on the upload, you will be getting this thing. Now I'm uploading a file inside this particular bucket. Click on the add file, it will be opening up this thing. There's a cat photo and I'm clicking on it, open, and this is it. This is the cat photo and I'm just scrolling down, uploaded, and now wait a minute, and it's uploaded, right? Okay, let's go back to the file, just wait a minute. Let's close it. And see, I have uploaded this particular cat photo in this particular thing. Fine. Yeah. So you can share it with somebody else as well, right? So a lot of things are there which you can share. Okay. So for that, you have to do some different configurations. There is something which is called versioning. Versioning means in the AWS is that if accidentally you delete this thing, right? Accidentally you have deleted it, so you will be able to retrieve it back. It's kind of a recycle bin. But that's all of these things you have to do when you are creating the buckets. Once you have created a bucket, then nothing you can do about it. Okay, so that's an advanced thing. So it is the file share and download format, or in the read format. Read in the read format. So you can click on it, you can play it, you can share with your friends and family members and all this kind of thing, right? If I share it with this particular file with you guys, this is the error you will be getting. Okay, we cannot alter the configuration once the bucket is created. Yes, we cannot alter that. When we are in the process of creating a bucket, then we have to do this versioning and all this file sharing. We have to configure it. Otherwise, you will not be able to do that. Okay, that's the thing. So if I want to open this particular thing for myself, okay, just click on it. See, this was the cat photo which I uploaded. Okay, but I cannot share it because I have not configured when I was creating this particular thing. Okay. S3 is the complete service. Okay, Shuk, S3 is kind of okay. S3, if you say S3 is the big service, right? This complete giant shape you're saying, circle you're saying is the S3, and inside the S3 we have something which is called the bucket. We have something which is called the object. We have something which is called the versioning. Okay, yes, right. This is it, all about it. Okay, guys. So now, guys, we are going. So this is the end of the S3 part, right? An overview. Trust me, it is a lot of things are there in the S3, right? But I've just shown you how it is. How many buckets can be created under the S3? Okay, that's what I'm going to come into. Okay, okay. So let's go with the question and answer. Let's revise it. So what is the maximum file size that can be stored in? Can we keep local file servers on bucket? Yes, you can do anything, right? You can keep your local files over that particular bucket as well. Okay. Read to everyone. Veer, I'm not able to understand your question. What is this 10? Okay, B. Okay, what is the maximum file size that can be stored in the S3, right? So if there's a file, what could be the maximum size? Many of you are saying 5 TB. Okay. Somebody is also saying D. So all those who are saying it is 5, good. You nailed it. Yes. The maximum size of a file, of one single file, could be 5 TB. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. For one file I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. So it is B. Okay. So whoever is saying B, good. So guys, this is the next question. What is the maximum number of objects that can be stored in a single Amazon S3 bucket? Number of objects it is asking, not the size of them. What could be? Veer, Sunanda, Mahesh, Anuj, Madhukar, Isaac, Shriti, Sagar, Kavit. Everybody is right. Who are saying D, you are absolutely right. Okay. The size of one file should not exceed 5 TB. But when it comes to number of objects, it could be, there is no limit to that. Okay. You can share as many as you want. But when it comes to one file size, it should be 5 TB. Okay. That's it. Okay. Now let's go to the third part. Which of the following is true about the private cloud? This is the question from the previous session, guys. I want you to answer this. Let's revise it also. Okay. We are discussing next, new topics. So we have to also retain the older topics as well. Okay. Many of you are saying C, and you guys are absolutely right. Okay. The correct answer is C, because it is for only one individual and only one person is managing it. Okay. Then there is a questions, which of the following statement is true about versioning in Amazon S3? The Correct answer is, many of us are saying A, B, people are now getting confused. The correct answer is B. Versioning, what it does is that, see, you have a file, okay? You see, versioning allows you to create a multiple version of the same file in a bucket. What can happen is that you have this piece of a file, okay? File F1, right? And then what you did is that you created some kind of a modification in this file, or you have some other file, new file at this F2. Versioning lets you hold the this file with same name, right? F1 and F1, you will be having it, okay? It's kind of complex thing, but that's the thing versioning lets you happen. Multiple version of the same file. So this is the older version, this is the new version, all this kind of things happen. If this is a file, right, and this is file 1, and you done some modification, and then you have this file second. So this is the older one and this is the new one. So versioning lets you hold this both older as well as the new one. These are both the same file. This was the older file, and then you have made it some new, added some new code or something like that. This is a new file. Okay, so versioning lets you hold this both of it. Okay, this is it. So again, if you want to enable versioning, when you're creating a bucket, you have to enable it at that particular moment of time. Otherwise, you are not able to do that. Okay. And very important question, guys. What is the EBS in the AWS stand for? The Elastic Block Store, right? That what then EBS is. Okay.